to Let's Chat, the Tennessee Valley's premier show focusing on lifestyle and entertainment with Jess Raby and Chip Chapman, bringing you smart shopping tips, community events, and the newest trends. Now, let's chat.
We are glad to have you here with us as we continue. We made it to Friday. It is June the 5th, and I think we can all say we are happy the weekend is here. As we get closer to fall, that means football is going to be here, and the excitement that builds up in Knoxville on Friday afternoons, it's palpable. It's hanging in the air. And here's a guy who helps make all that possible. It is riding shotgun with us today, the voice of the Vols, Bob Kesling. Bob, good morning.
How you doing, Chip? Good to see you.
Good to see you, my friend. Thanks so much for spending a few moments with us. We spent some time yesterday talking about Coach Johnny Majors, and I found a picture that I wanted to share with you right off the bat this morning, and this is at one of the events that Coach Majors and I attended together many years ago. As you can tell by looking at the picture, this was a long time ago. Far left, it is country music singer and writer, Mr. Jim Ed Brown. Wearing the goofy grin and the big mustache, and the hat is me, believe it or not, followed by a guy who was a famous fan of the Vols for ages, talent agent Tandy Rice. Tandy helped the careers of George Lindsay as Goober, country comedian Jerry Clower, and so many more. And then the man we're all talking about today, Coach Johnny Majors. And I'll tell you, Bob, it seemed like it didn't matter whether you were a king or a pauper, Coach Majors treated everybody the same.
He loved people. He loved to laugh. He loved to be around people that enjoyed life. And, you know, he was not a negative guy. I mean, he was just always very positive, and his memory was so tremendous. I hadn't seen him when we went to Pittsburgh after he left Tennessee. I hadn't seen him in a while. And so he came back, and the first thing he did, he asked me how my wife and he called them by name. You know, how's your wife Tammy, your daughters Allison and Melissa? How in the world did you remember it? But he did. He remembered his teammates. He remembered the guys he played against. So his memory was just incredible, and he was, was always gracious, and he never met a stranger, that's for sure.
I was very happy to hear his wife say that Coach Majors passed away doing what he loved, looking out over the beautiful Tennessee River. Certainly a very fitting way to leave this life and get into the next. All right, Bob Kesling, now we're going to put you on the spot for just a little bit. Everyone knows you as the voice of the Vols, football, basketball, but you've got another big passion in your life in addition to athletics, and that is being a big brother. I want you to tell us about that for a moment.
Chip, it was about, 10 or 11 years ago when a couple of people, Bert Bertelkamp, who was on the Big Brothers, Big Sisters board, and a couple of people from the organization came to my office and said, hey, is there anybody over here that you think might want to be a big brother here at UT, and can you get us connected with some people? And I said, well, yeah, I'll try and do that. And they said, well, what about you? Why don't you become a big brother? I said, well, I don't have time. And I got so many stuff on my plate, I can't. I thank you, but I don't have time.
Right.
And so that night I went home and I was watching a baseball game on TV. It was in the summer, and it was like 11-2 in the 8th inning. I'm thinking, what am I doing? I've wasted this whole night. I could have been in with the kids. So I called them the next day and I said, send me a kid. And they sent me William Large. He was in middle school at the time. And we have walked through life together. And he changed my life. And I hope I've changed his. I tried to. I just tried to show him that, this is what you need to do. And I introduced him to coaches and players and a bunch of different people. And I think I had an impact. But I learned so much from him. I learned that the lifestyle that my kids in West Knoxville grew up in is a lot different than the lifestyle he grew up in over in East Knoxville. It gave me very much a better appreciation of people in our own city. And that the Kroger's in West Knoxville is different from the Kroger's on Broadway in terms of clientele.
Right.
So he opened my eyes to a lot of different things about this city. So I gained as much of this as he did. He graduated from high school. He went to 1 year in junior college and decided that wasn't for him. And so he enlisted in the Navy now a year and a half ago. He's been deployed. He went out in the seas for 7 months. He went all over the world with the Navy, Guam and Singapore and all these places that he never really thought he'd ever go in his life. And he's a young guy from Strawberry Plains, Tennessee. He got married recently, and they're expecting their first child in November. So we're just so proud of him. But I hope I have had an impact in his life. But I know he's had an impact on mine because he really changed how I view things. And I think, you know, with all the things that are going on in the country right now, it's giving me a better perspective on the fact that there are some people that are disadvantaged, and everybody's not on a level playing field, and that opened my eyes to that. So I encourage anybody, and you know, you think you don't have time, but it doesn't take that much. One night a week for 3 hours is not that much to sacrifice, and a couple of phone calls during the week. And the one thing I always told William, if something happens, I'm one phone call away, and I'll never lie to you, and I'll always tell you the truth. And whatever I tell you to do, I'm going to do it. And he said that was one of the steadying forces for him in his life. So if you are looking for some way to help in your community, call up Big Brothers Big Sisters and just see if you can help.
Well, I know without doubt you have been a very positive impact on his life, and I'm glad he has been a positive impact on yours. And you host a golf tournament in Knoxville for the boys, or for the Big Brothers Association up there every year, and I hope you have a heck of a tournament coming up this year. So, and if there's any way possible, I'll be there. I'll do you a favor. If I play close to your foursome, Bob, I'll make you feel really good about your game, or I'll just come up and make a donation and cheer you on.
There you go. There you go. This time,
so much. Ladies and gentlemen, Bob Kesling, the voice of the Vols, whether it's football or basketball or Big Brothers. Bob Kesling is the authority. We're fortunate to have him spend a few minutes of time with us today. All right, we got to take a quick break. We're back with more as we continue with the Friday edition of Let's Chat right here on News 12 Now.